Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Trey Olds Radio Show. My name is Trey Olds. Thank you for joining us this evening. Today, my special guest is singer, writer, and comedian Mr. Geoffrey Mark. Thank you, and join us in a minute.
I've been doing this for 45 years. If I'm not ready by now, it's too late.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my first question to you is, how did you get started in the business? How did you become a comedian? How did you get started?
Well, I got started in show business very young. It's an unfortunate thing, and I think if you talk to a lot of people in show business, you're going to get a very similar answer. Coming from an unhappy family and an unhappy childhood, I was drawn into the acting thing. I was drawn into performing and being on a stage. And a dear friend of mine knew that things at home weren't very good. And there happened to be one particularly bad day. And she said, you know what? Grab a piece of sheet music and meet me downstairs. And I had no idea what she had in mind. And she drove me about 45 minutes away from where we lived. And there were auditions for a dinner theater. And I don't know if dinner theater still exists in this country or not, but it's just what it sounds like, professional theater, and you did a musical or a play, and then people got fed before you performed.
Mm-hmm.
And I auditioned, never having auditioned for anything professional, and I sang a song, and this voice came out of me that I didn't know I had, and I got hired at 15 to play an adult in the musical Little Abner.
Oh,
and
wow.
Everything just sort of grew from that. I was 15 there. I was 16 when I made my first film. I was 17 doing stand-up in New York City. So my career everything is a layer. It just keeps, one step leads to the next step, and I keep climbing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you love it and enjoy it, you're never going to quit,
Oh, I couldn't. Now I don't know how to do anything else.
So you've done dinner theater, singing. Do you still do singing and theater?
I don't do theater much anymore because I'm no longer 15. There comes a point, well, it's just the truth about age. As people get older, the parts that are written for the leads in musicals are generally people who are somewhere between 20 and 40. And I'm over 40. Mm-hmm. But I do still sing. I do concerts all over the country. And I do still do stand-up. I hosted the Palm Springs International Comedy Festival a few months ago. And I'm, of course, writing books. And I entertain on cruise ships and in nightclubs. So the career keeps changing as what the need is. So I make sure that I can do a whole lot of things. So if somebody says, hey, we need you to come sing a song, of course. Hey, can you do 10 minutes of stand-up? Of course. Could you write a nice introduction? I can do whatever you need. Just write me a check.
Yep. Yeah, and like you said, the careers constantly change, from actor, but it's interesting, because what you learn in that first field, you can apply to the next job you go to.
If you're wise, if you're smart, and you understand how show business works, because there are a lot of people out there who are very famous, mm-hmm. and people think that they're very wealthy and have these wonderful lives. And the truth of the matter is that show business is a very difficult profession. And it costs a lot of money to be in show business. The costumes and the makeup and the musical arrangements and the travel, and there are a lot of expenses. So people think everybody's wealthy. Well, some of us make a healthy living, but a lot of us, we can make a whole lot of money in April and have no income at all in May. So it's a very change. It's like the weather. It just keeps changing. And if you're wise, you learn how to change with it. And those people, and I'll include myself in that, have long careers. To have a 45-year career in show business is like having a 300-year career in any other business. So I'm a very, very, very lucky man.
Yeah. Yeah, the business, you have to know what you're getting into, because the show business is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. I don't think. And,
Everybody you meet wants to be in show business, and every man you meet wants to be a porn star. Until you explain to them what the work actually entails. And in show business, it's like, well, can't you just hire me? Can't you just make me a star? Well, no, you have to do the work. And even adult videos, and I won't get adult with you on the air, but even to do that, you have to be a professional and understand that there's 12 people around you while you're doing it, and it isn't about your pleasure, it's about the pleasure of the people at home who are watching you. It's a performance. And the people who do well with that, it's the same set of rules. You got to show up early, do your best, take good direction, be a professional, and if you do all those things, you can be a success. But it's hard work. There's no part of show business that's not hard work. You may be having fun the whole time you're doing it, but it's hard work.
yeah. It's a business. That's why they call it business. Show business.
It took me a long time, I must say this, to learn that that's how it's said, Trey. It's not show business, it's show business. Because that's what it is. People all looking to make money off of your talent. Mm-hmm. And if you're smart and wise, you make sure that you also make money off of your talent.
Oh, yeah.
It's a business. It's a business.
Mm-hmm. My next question to you is, for you personally, what is the most challenging part or difficult part for you being in the business? What do you find is the most challenging for you?
I think that's changed through the years. When I was younger, other than trying to get someplace, mm-hmm. because I had early success, but as I said a few moments ago, success ebbs and flows like the tide. Mm-hmm. But I think the bigger thing for me when I was younger is I was terribly shy. So I could get on stage. The minute a spotlight hit me, I knew what I was doing. But put me in a room with a booking agent or put me at a party with other people in the business, and I wanted to be the wallpaper on the wall. I didn't know how to interact. The business part of it. The show part mm-hmm. was born in me. So when I was younger, it was getting past my shyness and my fear to do the work. Today, I think my shyness has left me. And I'm pretty much, for those of you who are listening, our friends out there, before we started recording this, Trey was asking, are you ready? I'm always ready. I was born ready. To be on stage or on radio or on television, I'm ready for it. Today, I'm also ready for the business part of it. I think today, the hardest part is, as you age, the work part, although you're ready for it, gets harder. Singing and dancing and being on your feet for hours at a time and going to places where you're doing publicity and you're on your feet for hours. When you're over 40 or 50 or whatever age I happen to be, you get physically more tired. Mm-hmm. And there is no guaranteed income. So unless one gets to be a multimillionaire, because these days, just being a millionaire isn't enough. You have to be a multimillionaire to pay for everything. There's also financial concerns. As one ages in show business, whether you're a makeup artist or a hairstylist or a writer or an actor, there is this mindset that at some point you become too old to do the job, that we need young people who know how to do hair, or young people who know how to write for young people. And it becomes a problem after a while for a lot of older people in show business. Well, gee whiz, I have the same talent I had 5 or 10 years ago, except I might be even better at it today. But people people who do the hiring don't always see it that way. So there's an ageism thing you have to fight. So I think those are my challenges today, having the energy to do what I used to do on a consistent level and fighting ageism, because there are young people who get into the business who don't know any history of what's come before, who don't think that anybody belongs in the business unless they're 18 years old. And that's a hard prejudice to fight, and it's a stupid prejudice to fight, because most 18-year-olds, even if they're brilliantly talented, haven't had the experience to be at their best. Mm-hmm. So those are my challenges.
Yeah. Yeah, there will always be challenges, but you have to fight those challenges. You have to overcome them and do your best you can do if you enjoy being in the business, if you really love it.
Well, and I think that's true of any business you're in. That's the one thing show business shares with all other businesses. If you don't like what you're doing, if your heart isn't in whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you're probably not going to do well with it. George Burns once said, if you love what you're doing, you never actually work a day in your life because you're busy enjoying yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't mean that it isn't hard work, but it isn't tedious work. It's the work that you love doing. I'm a lucky guy. I've been in the business. You all know how old I am if you can add that I was 15 when I got started. If I've been in the business for 45 years, you pretty much know that I'm 60 years old. I'm a very lucky man that I have gotten to know and play with and dine with and work with almost all of my heroes. And there's a rich history of show business that lives between my ears that I've gotten to participate in firsthand. I'm a really, really lucky, grateful man.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't answer your question, but I wanted to...
Well, it answered my question. It did. My next question to you is, do you have any upcoming projects in comedy, singing? Do you have any upcoming gigs you can share with us?
I do, but I don't have dates, so I can tell you what's on my plate for the rest of this year. I am going to be doing an East Coast singing tour that I think will be in Virginia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and New York. Mm-hmm. Possibly a couple of other dates besides that. I am doing several personal appearances at the Hollywood Museum this year. I believe I am booked to do a couple of more television shows, but I don't have the exact dates yet. And, of course, I'm always doing radio. I love doing radio.
Oh, yeah.
And I love being on with people like you and who have a love for the business and ask wonderful questions. And I'm working on, 3 books. So I just finished writing my memoirs. They'll be out next year. I'm in the midst of working on. I had a wonderful best-selling book published about Lucille Ball's television career called The Lucy Book, and I have the opportunity now to greatly expand it and include all of her radio work and her Broadway show and some of her films. So we're working on that also to come out next year. So there's a lot going on, and again, at this age, to have this much on my plate, I'm a very lucky guy.
Oh, yeah. And I hope you get busy even more, It's good to be busy like that.
It is. It's very gratifying. I was just saying this to my assistant. As we were recording this, Tim Conway passed away.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
knew Tim, and I had many friends who knew Tim. And that I post something on Facebook, and immediately people are commenting on it. No matter how many years I've been in the business, I know that intellectually, millions of people have either seen me on film, or they've seen me on television, or they've heard me on the radio, or seen me in person, or read my books, or read album notes I've written for jazz CDs. But on a heart level,